What's going on, J Squad? Welcome back to the bunker. I'm your man, Sarn J Max. With me, as always, is Sarn Janone. What's going on, Sarn? How's your day going? Just starting the 3-day weekend? Outstanding. So today, guys, I wanted to pose a question to you. Does a budget scope stand up to a battle-tested rifle scope? The reason I'm asking is because back when I first started putting my rifles together, I was trying to figure out, do I want to go with a red dot? Do I want to go with a scope? Do I want to go with a scope and a red dot? What do I want to do? And I know that the move lately has been to go to an LPVO, and you've got budget LPVOs all the way up to super expensive LPVOs. There's a multitude of ranges for scopes, red dots, LPVOs, whatever it is that you want to put on your rifle. Now, me personally, I don't have a lot of space. I don't have a lot of land. I don't have, hundreds of yards that I have to take into consideration if I'm defending my property. So at this point, for me, an LPVO, even a budget one, wouldn't really be something that I would consider to put on my rifle to use as a scope. So for my purposes, I went with I decided to go with a smaller red dot scope situation. And if you've seen any of my rifle build videos, of course, with Big Booty Judy, I went with the AT3 Tactical RD50 red dot. And then for Aria, I went with the Hollow Sun 510C green dot. And those have worked fine for me. Taking them out to the range a bunch of times, and the shots are on target, and everything that I need it to do, it does for me. Now, again, I don't have a lot of area that I need to have for long distance shots, anything of that nature. So again, an LPVO may not suit my purposes. Now, for those budget scopes or those smaller scopes that I have, you can also buy magnifiers that will also help in, making shots clearer at distance if that's what you need to do. But the main focus of this video today is back when I was first putting my ARs together and having come out of military service, I got acclimated to shooting the Trijicon ACOG. Now, many of you know that the ACOG, the Trijicon name itself, is synonymous with high quality builds. A lot of people like to use them, but it's also synonymous with, yeah, that's right, big money. So if you got Trijicon, big money, and you want to put that RMR on your pistol, or you want to put that ACOG on your rifle, by all means, go ahead and go that route. I, on the other hand, like many of you out there, I'm searching for the best deal for my money that's going to give me the capabilities that I need for my rifle or my pistol to be able to do. So not that I'm all about budget. If I could afford it, then I probably would go that route. But anyway, I digress. Back when I was putting my first AR together, I was looking at a scope to buy to put on the AR, and I came across what would be considered a budget ACOG. Now, what I came across was the Ozark Armament RHINO ACOG, and I'll post a picture of it right over here. And again, as I mentioned, in the military, we got the Trijicon ACOG, and I'll post a picture of that right over here so that you guys can see. And like I said, as many of you know, maybe you don't know, the ACOG, the Trijicon ACOG, has been battle tested, battle proven. It's been, used all throughout the global war on terrorism. It's still being used today by many special forces groups, military branches. And like I said, we used them when I was in the Army. I believe the Marines still use them. Some special forces groups still use them, although many of them go to LPVOs nowadays. But I purchased the Ozark Armament RHINO, and it served a purpose for me. And recently I was going through some of my stuff. I came across it once again, and like I said, I already have a couple of red dots for my rifles already, but I was going through some of my stuff. I came across it again, and I thought, I wonder if this thing is it still good? Can I still use it? Would it still be good in a situation where if my AT3 Tactical red dot went down, or my Hollow Sun 510C went down, can I take this, put it on one of my rifles, and be able to use it to get me through a situation until I can get either one of those back up and running again, or whatever the case may be. Only problem is I didn't have a Trijicon ACOG to be able to put it through its paces to see how well does it stand up against the battle-tested, optic that has been used throughout the last couple of wars and skirmishes that our military has been in throughout the world. So I reached out to a buddy of mine from my unit, and I told him what I was trying to do. And I asked him, hey man, can I borrow one of your Trijicon ACOG so I can run this little test about the budget optic against the battlefield battle-tested Trijicon ACOG? And he hooked me up. So again, I put a couple of pictures in the video so you guys will see what the RHINO looks like and what the Trijicon looks like, just in case you don't know. I'm sure that some of you do know, many of you may not know. The other thing about the Trijicon ACOG, again, is that they are very expensive. So that was one of the drawbacks that prevented me from buying one originally when I went to put my rifle together. And, that was probably, I gotta say, the biggest factor that stopped me from buying one. Now, there are some differences between the Ozark Armament ACOG and the Trijicon ACOG. The Ozark Armament runs off of a 2032 battery, and it doesn't have shake awake, so it is going to give you are going to have to be mindful about making sure that if you're not using it and you are using one of these, that you turn off the battery so it doesn't run down your battery. The Trijicon ACOG runs off of a tritium fiber optic power source, so it gets its light from either the outdoor environment or the tritium rod that's inserted into the ACOG that helps illuminate the ACOG in darker situations. I already have both of the scopes mounted up on my rifles. I'm going to head out to the range. I'm going to get them sighted in so that way, we can run this test and see how well the budget ACOG stacks up against the battle-tested, tried and true battlefield warrior ACOG, the Trijicon ACOG. So I just wanted to discuss a couple of the features and differences between the two. Now, they both have the same magnification. They're both 4x32. The difference between the other difference between the two is that the ACOG has more of a chevron as its reticle, and the RHINO ACOG has a crosshair that illuminates in the middle. They both have the BDC lines in there, although the RHINO ACOG, I should say, the bullet drop compensation lines are very, very small, very hard to read. So that's, one of the drawbacks to that particular ACOG. The good thing about the RHINO ACOG is that it does have 3 illumination factors, so you can go between red, green, and blue, whichever your eyes seem to pick up better. So that's a positive with that, where the Trijicon ACOG just has the red chevron. Now, there are others out there that you can buy that have the green. They run off of a battery. So, you have a few different options as far as the Trijicon ACOG. But again, you need to have that Trijicon ACOG money. Now, the lowest I've seen the Trijicon ACOG going for is just under $1,000, whereas the RHINO ACOG, and again, this was one of the things that attracted me to it, was that it's just under $100. So again, I don't think it's going to be a battle duty rifle setup scope that you would use, but if you need something for training purposes or to get you in between, or just starting from not having a scope to having a scope, maybe kind of trying to see what the features of an ACOG would be like, because with the Trijicon ACOG and with the RHINO ACOG, you can mount an RMR red dot on top, so that way you can go between the long distance shooting if that's what you want to do, or the close-up shooting with the red dot mounted on top of the ACOG as well. So you have those options available. And again, the weight between the two, the size dimensions between the two is going to be very small increments of difference. I believe the RHINO ACOG is a little bit lighter than the Trijicon ACOG. Now, the other thing about the Trijicon ACOG, the glass clarity is going to be much better. Obviously, you know, it's going to have the better features and capabilities because of the fact that, you know, it is manufactured to a higher standard, a mil-spec standard, whereas the RHINO ACOG is just something that is out there for people that are budget minded and want to throw a scope on their rifle, maybe see, you know, what graduating to an ACOG could be later on down the line. But, you know, again, it's probably not going to be something that you would throw on your rifle for distance or duty purposes or battle purposes. And I think the maximum range of effectiveness would be up to about 200 yards. Now with the Trijicon ACOG, that's going to be up to about 300 yards, which was in the military the max distance that we had to be able to shoot at in qualification for our rifles. Now with an LPVO, obviously you're going to be able to stretch that out a lot further, and you're going to be able to bring it in a lot closer. So the biggest difference between the LPVO and other scopes is that you're going to have that magnification that you can draw in and out. And, you know, for close-up shots or distance shots, that's the one benefit of the LPVO over, you know, the Trijicon ACOG or any other type of scope of that magnitude. But again, you can buy magnifiers for the Holosun, for the EOTech, for the AT3 Tactical RD50 Red Dot. And I know that's a lot to say, but those are available out there too. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to pose this question to you. I'm going to run this little optic test just so that I can see, does the RHINO ACOG stand up as far as accuracy is concerned to the Trijicon ACOG. Now again, I am shooting indoors at an indoor range, so I can't stretch it out any further beyond 25 yards is the max distance within our range. But I will go ahead and sight both of them in at a 300 yard zero, and we'll see what the accuracy looks like at you know, that distance. But anyway, guys, come on out to the range with me and we'll put some shots down range and see how they do. Alright guys, so again, got the infinite zero target set up, 300 yards, 20 yards. I'm gonna go ahead and get these sighted in. We'll start putting shots down in just a moment. What's going on, J Squad? Welcome back to the bunker. Your man Sergeant J Max, and with me as always, Sergeant Gnome. So went out to the range. It was super loud in there, guys. Unfortunately, I make all my videos with my phone, so my camera is not that great. I tried to set it up to where the camera was pointed down range so you guys would be able to see the hits on the target, but unfortunately my zoom just isn't that good. So I can show you what I filmed that's worth filming. I did use the infinite zero target, 300 yard zero at 20 yards to zero both of the ACOGs that I have. And I gotta say, guys, I was a little bit more accurate with the Ozark RHINO ACOG than I was with the Trijicon. With the Trijicon, my shots were a little low and left. And with the ACOG, the RHINO ACOG, excuse me, they were a little bit higher on target, better on target, more center mass than with the Trijicon ACOG. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably gonna say it's not the equipment, it's the shooter, but I had the better ACOG set up on what would be, out of my two rifles, the better rifle setup. I'm sure a lot of you would think that the PSA is a lot better quality than the Juggernaut tactical build, and I had the RHINO ACOG set up on the Juggernaut tactical build. So, you know, I had the bougie scope with the bougie rifle and the budget scope with the budget rifle. And I'm sure, you know, a lot of you guys, if you're not living in California or that familiar with Juggernaut tactical, I'm sure that you would assume that the Juggernaut tactical is on a lower tier from the PSA. So, you know, I don't know with the other Holosun and the AT3 Red Dot that I have, I'm a lot more on point with those two dots as opposed to where I'm at with the Trijicon ACOG. So I don't know, guys. Unfortunately, it was super loud in the range, so I really couldn't record any of the shots. And like I said, my camera just isn't good enough to be able to zoom in down range far enough in order for me to be able to show you guys the hits on target. But you know, you'll see from the pictures. I'll post a couple of pictures of the targets after I ended up shooting. First one will be the target that I shot with Aria and the Trijicon ACOG, and the second one will be with the RHINO ACOG and Big Booty Judy, guys. But you know, at this point, I don't know if the ACOG needs to be serviced or calibrated or whatever the case may be. But again, I made sure of the zero, had everything sighted in properly, used the same setup, same sighting setup for both rifles. So I don't know what the difference between the two was. So the budget ACOG did a little bit better than the brand name ACOG at this point. I mean, like I said, you guys will see from the pictures of the target. Like I said, I couldn't get my camera to focus on the target downrange enough for you guys to be able to see the actual hits on target. And of course, it's an indoor range, so it's not like I could walk down the lane, set up my camera so that it points better at the target for you guys to get a better sight picture as far as where the shots are hitting on the target. But you know, what do you think, Sarn? You think the Trijicon maybe needs to be calibrated? Do they even calibrate them? I don't know. But yeah, it was a little bit more accurate with the RHINO ACOG and Big Booty Judy. Go figure, right? Well, anyway, guys, if you're liking any of this content, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate everybody that's been checking out the channel, watching the videos, leaving comments, and subscribing to the channel. I hope to bring more videos like this to you guys in the future, and I do plan on hopefully being able to get a top tier quality rifle build together. Maybe I'll run this test again with the top tier rifle and see, you know, maybe I'll just use the ACOG, the Trijicon on the top tier and the RHINO on the top tier, see which one comes out better. But that's really all I got for you guys today. That's all we got for you guys today. You got anything else to add, son? Go Rams? Yes, sir. Go Dodgers. All right, guys. Again, that's all we got for you. Thank you for joining us in the bunker. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe. It's going to help push this content out to other viewers out there in the YouTube space and the two-way community, and give them the information that they might be looking for as far as whether or not they want to pick up a budget scope, a Trijicon scope. You know, again, I know you guys are going to say it was the operator and not the equipment. So go ahead and leave some comments in the comment section down below. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys about it. But again, that's all we got for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your man, Sergeant J-Max. With me, as always, is Sergeant Jerome. May God bless America. May God bless all of you. And we out.